Delicious water. Milk commercial. Bruh. What the fuck? Uh. That'll get them in here. That'll do it. Where's the notification gang? What? What the fuck is this? There's some Hagrids in the chat. Hagrid. My laugh sound ingenuous. I really am laughing though. I do be laughing. Well, this is perfect. Gives me time to smoke. Room chilly for some reason. Slightly chilly. Nothing to cry about. And I have a blanket if I need it. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my marbles. Dee-doo, dee-doo, dee-dee-doo, dee-dee-doo. See, my Discord's always beeping, but I don't know which one it is. Are you insane? I should be doing my research paper right now. That's due tonight. But here we are. Here we are. Where are all the Hagrids? Oh, dude, I just now got the joke. I just now got the joke. I guess I'll rip this waiting for everybody. I'm sorry you had to see that. Daddy needed that. That's much better. Yeah. I love Harry Potter. Dude. I love this book. It's written just so well. It's like, oh. Oh. Such a great book. I want to start reading, but nobody's here yet. I'll give them till 5. I will be begin reading shortly. Oh, what's up, Logan? I'm gonna start without y'all. I was just reading ahead. I apologize. Well, I don't apologize, to to be honest with you. But anyway, as I was reading, I was just reminiscing on just like the first book, like its placement among like all the others, and I was just like really thinking like, man, like with like an overview on like the entire like story and like knowing the characters so well, like seeing them like in the first book like so young, and like the pictures of here like showed them as like such young kids, like exactly like what age they're supposed to be, which is like 10 years old or 11 years old. Damn, I've been streaming for like half an hour, so. But anyway, that shit was like knowing, like as I was saying, like knowing like the characters over like, because like them being this young is like a novelty pretty much because like they act like like older as like the books go on, obviously. But it's just like I love seeing them like super young. It like takes me back to like Harry Potter's roots. Like I love seeing them young. Anyway, I like to thank new subscriber user Braden Sabo. I am on. Oh my god, I can't believe it, bro. Well, no wonder nobody got the notification. What the fuck? I guess I'll just port this one over whenever the stream's over. But whatever. We're here and we're here now. So we're gonna read some Harry Potter. After your boy takes a hit. Which is tradition. We will soon begin reading Chapter 6. The journey from platform 9 3/4. Which will take us to Hogwarts, I believe. Pretty sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we're me and Ron and Hermione this one too. Hermione didn't become like a close friend until like a little bit later on. Not in the series, like in this book, I'm just mean like because Ron and Harry were like best friends from like the get go. But like Hermione's just like the opposite of like these two boys, you know. But like the more she hung out with like Harry and Ron, like the more trouble she got in, and the more like used to it, and like even liking it, like she got. Like there's a line in this book I think where like Hermione was like the one that was like all excited about like sneaking out and like waking them up so they can like go out. And it was like, oh, she changed so much. Like obviously, like they acknowledge that. That's my bad about the stream, guys. I'm a dumbass. Like this is like my personal channel that I use like just to like, cause like it has like all like my like it like knows me, like the algorithm knows me. I have like all my subscribed shit on here. But anyways, let me take this rip and then we will read. Yeah, because I was like, no way is Sabo like just now subscribing to me. That's funny. Okay, I guess we'll begin. First, let's kind of recap. The book is so easy to follow. Like it's. I love this book. I love this book so much. It's written so well. Props to JK, my girl. I see her tweeting out shit yesterday, and I'm like, she's still getting canceled. Like, why? Why would you cancel JK Rowling of all people? You know, like what she said wasn't even like that, like crazy. But yeah, whatever. Bro, did people actually say that shit? No, because like I knew my sister's like one of her closest like friends, like two of her closest friends, who were like both sisters anyway. Their parents wouldn't even like let them like watch Harry Potter. Cause I remember like being like around the time that like probably like Order of the Phoenix, I guess, or like the one after that. I remember being like or talking like mentioning Harry Potter to them. And like, yeah, like our parents like don't let us watch Harry Potter. Like they never let us watch Harry Potter growing up. I was like, what? And that was like I was also like that with like SpongeBob. What the fuck? What promote? Dude, I think I actually, dude, dude, I think I remember like in the news. If that's kind of like semi recent, I think I do actually remember like reading an article about that or something. Oh my god, bro, that's so crazy. That's mind blowing to me. Like the stupidity of that is like that's like how is that how is somebody like not say like no to this? Like who is how is nobody like put a stop? Yeah, around like 2016. Yeah. I remember loving 2016, but whatever. I was 16 years old exactly. And I remember the day that Trump got elected, like, cause Trump getting elected, like, just radicalized like everybody somehow. Be- because like I remember waking up like I tell a story all the time. Like I remember I woke up and I looked at my phone to see who won because I didn't even stay up to like see if like Trump won because I didn't give a fuck. You know, I mean obviously like but like you know I don't like I wasn't like super into politics. But anyway, I look at my phone. I look on Google. Like I didn't even have to like touch anything because Google already had it up. But it was like it instantly showed me like Trump like the like 2 meters of like how far like the how many votes they got or whatever. And I was like Trump won. And I was like winner Trump. And I was like, well, I'll be damned. And I just got up and took a shower and I went on with my day. And not like being like okay whatever. Like literally like that's how like anybody should have reacted. That's how everybody should have reacted. I know people. My own sister, I believe. Like I remember my mom. I remember this distinctly. I remember my mom like through like the wall of like the bathroom or whatever, or like I don't know how I heard it, but anyways, my mom was like if you feel like staying home today, like just stay home. Like to my saying that to my sister. That's so funny, bro. That shit killed. I was like what? Like you're gonna stay? You're gonna use that as an excuse to like stay home from school, bro? I would have been like, oh, like rip Hillary. Like I love Hillary. I vote for Hillary. Like, like what was her motto? I don't give a fuck. I'd be like, let me stay home. But I was like, that's like so pathetic to me. Like to be honest, like if but like the thing is like she didn't stay home. But like we knew people that like did stay home. Like that I went to school that day and they're like, "Oh yeah, what's your name stayed home because they couldn't handle Trump being elected." I was just like, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. What do you think, Hagrids? That's what I'm calling y'all now. My Hagrids. Give me some Hagrids in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking about. Okay. We are about to begin. Oh yeah, as I was saying, we're gonna recap before I got into my tangent. But anyway, yeah, where the fuck were we? Yeah, Harry just got all this stuff from Diagon Alley, and he saw magic for the first time. He's like mind blown. Obviously, like how like exactly how you and I would react to seeing like magic in the open world and goblins and shit. And there he's like, yeah, like talking like werewolves and like like vampires and like monsters and like all like these Witcher 3 monsters. And Harry's just like what? Like like he was like dumbstruck, like how like I would be. I'd be like, what? I'll be like, Hagrid, like slow down, slow down. Like you're telling me like the most craziest shit. Like you're changing my entire like conception of like reality. Like I get that like this is all you've ever known, but like I'm just from like a cupboard in the stairs, my guy. Like I didn't like I didn't even know magic was a thing until like 6 hours ago. And like, everybody was in the bar like it's an honor to meet you, Mr. Potter. Like Mr. Potter, I can't believe I like my family is like if you ever need anything, like I'm there, like come in. And like all he's ever known has just been like that he's like garbage, like a slug, he said. He's only been a slug his entire life. This man. This 11-year-old poor boy. But no, everything's alright because he's gonna go to Hogwarts. So let's get started. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Chapter 6. The Journey from Platform 9 3/4. Harry's last month with the Dursleys wasn't fun. True, Dudley was now so scared of Harry he wouldn't stay in the same room, while Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon didn't shut Harry in his cupboard, force him to do anything or shout at him. In fact, they didn't speak to him at all. Half terrified, half furious, they acted as though any chair with Harry in it was empty. Although this was an improvement in many ways, it did become a little depressing after a while. Harry kept to his room with his new owl for company. He decided to call her Hedwig, a name that he'd found in a history of magic. His school books were very interesting. He lay on his bed reading late in the night, Hedwig swooping in and out of the open window as she pleased. It was lucky that Aunt Petunia didn't come in to hover anymore, because Hedwig kept bringing back dead mice. Every night before he went to sleep, Harry ticked off another day on the piece of paper he had pinned to the wall, counting down to September the 1st. On the last day of August, he thought he'd better speak to his aunt and uncle about getting to King's Cross Station next day. So he went to the living room, where they were watching a quiz show on television. He cleared his throat to let them know he was there, and Dudley screamed and ran from the room. Uncle Vernon? Uncle Vernon grunted to show he was listening. I need to be at King's Cross tomorrow to go to Hogwarts. Uncle Vernon grunted again. Will it be alright if you gave me a lift? Grunt. Harry supposed that meant yes. Thank you. He's about to go back upstairs when Uncle Vernon actually spoke. Funny way to get to a wizard school, the train. Magic carpets all got punctures, have they? Harry didn't say anything. Where is this school, anyways? I don't know, said Harry, realizing this was the first time. He pulled the ticket Hagrid had given him out of his pocket. I just take the train from platform 9 3/4 at 11 o'clock, he read. His aunt and uncle stared. Platform what? 9 3/4? Don't talk rubbish, said Uncle Vernon. There is no platform 9 3/4. It's on my ticket. Barking, said Uncle Vernon. Howling mad, the lot of them. You'll see. You just wait. You will wait. We'll take you to King's Cross. We're going up to London tomorrow anyway, and I wouldn't bother. Why are you going to London? Harry said, trying to keep things friendly. Taking Dudley to hospital, growled Uncle Vernon. Got to have that ruddy tail removed before we go to Smeltings. Hagrid gave Dudley a tail. Ooh. Harry woke at 5 o'clock the next morning and was too excited and nervous to go back to sleep. He got up and pulled on his jeans because he didn't want to walk all the way to the station in his wizard's robes. He changed on the train. He checked his Hogwarts list yet again to make sure he had everything he needed, saw that Hedwig was shut safely in her cage, and then paced the room, waiting for the Dursleys to get up. 2 hours later, Harry's huge, heavy trunk had been loaded into the Dursleys' car, and Petunia had talked to Dudley and staying next to Harry, and they set off. They reached King's Cross at 10:30. Uncle Vernon dumped Harry's trunk onto a trolley and wheeled it onto the station for him. Harry thought he was strangely kind to until Uncle Vernon stopped dead, facing the platform with a nasty grin on his face. Well, there you are, boy. Platform 9, platform 10. Your platform should be somewhere in the middle, but they don't seem to have built it, do they? He was quite right, of course. There is a big plastic number 9/1 platform, and a big plastic number 10 over the next one next to it. In the middle, nothing at all. Have a good term, said Uncle Vernon, with an even nastier smile. He left without another word. Harry turned and saw the Dursleys drive away. All three of them were laughing. Harry's mouth went rather dry. What on earth was he going to do? He started to attract a lot of funny looks, especially with Hedwig. He'd have to ask someone. He stopped a passing guard, but didn't dare mention platform 9 3/4. The guard had never heard of Hogwarts, and when Harry couldn't even tell him what part of the country he was in, he started to get annoyed, as though Harry was being stupid on purpose. Getting desperate, Harry asked for the train that left at 11 o'clock, but the guard said there wasn't one. In the end, the guard strode away, muttering about time wasters. Harry was now trying hard not to panic. According to the large clock over the arrival board, he had 10 minutes left to get on the train to Hogwarts. And he had no idea how to do it. He was stranded in the middle of a station with a trunk he could hardly lift, a pocket full of wizard money, and a large owl. Hagrid must have forgotten to tell him something he had to do, like tapping the third brick on the left to get into Diagon Alley. He wondered if he should get out his wand and start tapping the ticket box between platforms 9 and 10. Okay, so this goes back to what I'm saying. Like, Hagrid, is completely, inept to, deliver, the right necessary amount of, information that Harry needs to hear about the wizarding world. Because, a trained, psychiatrist will have, gradually, introduce Harry to, small concepts of, the wizarding world, you know? But Hagrid just, dumps it all of them out at once. That's kind of, a bit cruel to do to, a little boy at such an age, to something, so massive, especially regarding, the death of his family. At that moment, a group of people passed just behind him, and he caught a few words of what they were saying. Packed with muggles, of course. Harry swung around. The speaker was a plump woman who was talking to 4 boys, all with flaming hair. Each of them was pushing a trunk like Harry's in front of them, and they had an owl. Harry's heart hammering, Harry pushed his trolley after them. They stopped, and so did he, just near enough to hear what they were saying. Now, what's the platform number? Said the boy's number. Mother? 9 3/4, piped the small girl, also red-headed, who was holding her hand. Mom, can't I go? You're not old enough, Ginny. Now be quiet. All right, Percy, you go first. Who's that little girl? I didn't want to say it to spoil it. I don't know. That's such a spoiler, though. I don't know if I'll say it. But Sabo knows who that little girl is. What looked like the oldest boy marched towards platform 9 and 10. Harry watched, careful not to blink in case he missed it. But just as the boy reached the divide between the two platforms, a large crowd of tourists came soaring in front of him, and by the time the last rucksack had cleared away, the boy had vanished. Fred, you next, the plump woman said. I'm not Fred, I'm George, said the boy. Honestly, woman, can't you call yourself our mother? Can't you tell I'm George? Sorry, George dear. Only joking, I'm Fred, said the boy, and off he went. His friend called after him to hurry up, and he must have done, because a second later he had gone. But how had he done it? Now the third brother was walking briskly towards the ticket barrier. He was almost there, and then quite suddenly, he wasn't anywhere. There was nothing else for it. Excuse me, Harry said to the plump one. Hello, dear, she said. First time at Hogwarts? Ron's, too. She pointed at the last and youngest of her sons. He was tall, thin, and gangly, with freckles, big hands and feet, and a long nose. Hey, said Harry. The thing is, I don't know how to get on the platform, she said kindly, and Harry nodded. Not to worry, she said. All you have to do is walk straight in at the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. Don't stop and don't be scared you'll crash into it. That's very important. Best do it in a bit of a run if you're nervous. Go on for Ron. Okay, said Harry. He pushed his trolley around and stared at the barrier. It looked very solid. He started to walk towards it. People jostled him on their way to platforms 9 and 10. Harry walked more quickly. He was going to smash right into that ticket box, and then he'd be in trouble. Leaning forward on his trolley, he broke into a heavy run. The barrier was coming nearer and nearer. He wouldn't be able to stop. The trolley was out of control. He was far away. He closed his eyes, ready for the crash. It didn't come. He kept on running. He opened his eyes. A Scarlet Steam engine was waiting next to a platform packed with people. A sign overhead said Hogwarts Express, 11 o'clock. Harry looked behind him and saw a wrought iron archway where the ticket box had been, with the words Platform 9 3/4 on it. He had done it. Smoke from the engine drifted over the heads of the chattering crowd, while cats of every color wound here and there between the legs. Owls hooted to each other in a disgruntled sort of way over the babble and the scraping of heavy trunks. The first few carriages were already packed with students, some hanging out of the window to talk to their families, some flying over seats. Harry pushed his trolley over down the platform in search of an empty seat. He passed a round-faced boy who was saying, Gran, I've lost my toad again. Oh, Neville, he heard the old woman say. Sigh. Neville Longbottom. A boy with dreadlocks was surrounded by a small crowd. Give us a look, Lee. Go on. The boy lifted the lid of a box in his arms, and the people around him shrieked and yelled as something inside poked out a long, hairy leg. Harry pressed on through the crowd until he found an empty compartment near the end of the train. He put headreading inside first and then started to shove and heave his trunk towards the train door. He tried to lift it up the steps, but he could hardly raise one end, and twice he dropped it painfully on his foot. One hand? It was one of the red-haired twins he followed through the ticket box. Yes, please, Harry panted. Oi, Fred, come here and help. With the twins' help, Harry's trunk was at last tucked away into a corner in the compartment. Thanks, said Harry, pushing his sweaty hair out of his eyes. What's that? Said one of the twins suddenly, pointing at Harry. Oh, what's that? Said one of the twins suddenly, pointing at Harry's lightning scar. Blimey, said the other twin. Are you? He is, said the first twin. Aren't you? He added. What? Said Harry. Harry Potter, chorused the twins. Oh, him, said Harry. I mean, yes, I am. See, like, Harry doesn't even accept it. He doesn't even accept himself as being, like, this, like, figure. Like, he's like, he thinks he's pathetic and, like, not worth, like, anything still. He's a slug, so he's like, yeah. Like him? Like, oh, yeah, wait, I am him, shit. The two boys gaped at him, and Harry felt himself going red. Then, to his relief, a voice came flowing in through the train's open door. Fred, George, are you there? Coming, Mum. With a last look at Harry, the twins hopped off the train. Harry sat down next to the window where, half hidden, you could watch the red-haired family on the platform and hear what they were saying. Their mother had just taken out her handkerchief. Ron, you've got something on your nose. The youngest boy tried to jerk out of the way, but she grabbed him and began rubbing the end of his nose. Mom, get her off! He wriggled free. Has Ickle Ron got something in his nose? It is nosy, said one of the twins. Shut up, said Ron. Where's Percy? Said the mother. He's coming now. The oldest boy came striding into sight. He already changed into his billowing black Hogwarts robes, and Harry noticed a shiny red and gold badge on his chest with the letter P on it. Can't stay longer, Mom, he said. I'm up front. The prefects have got 2 compartments to themselves. Oh, and you're a prefect, Percy, said one of the twins with an air of great surprise. You should have said something. We had no idea. Come on, I think I remember saying something about it, said the other twin. Once or twice a minute, all summer. Oh, shut up, said Percy the prefect. How come Percy gets new robes? How come Percy gets new robes anyway, said one of the twins. Because he's a prefect, said the mother fondly. He's a prefect. All right, dear. Well, have a good term. Send me an owl when you get there. She kissed Percy on the cheek and then left. Then she turned to the twins. Now, you two. This year you behave yourselves. If I get one more owl, tell me you've blown up a toilet or... Blown up a toilet? We've never blown up a toilet. Great idea, though, Mom. Thanks. It's not funny. And look after Ron. Don't worry, Ickle Ronnykins is safe with us. Shut up, said Ron again. He was almost as tall as the twins already, and his nose was still pink where his mother had rubbed it. Hey, Mom, guess what? Guess who we just met on the train? Harry leaned back quickly so they couldn't see him looking. You know that black-haired boy who was nearest on the station? Know who he is? Who? Harry Potter. Harry heard the little girl's voice. Oh, Mom, can I go on the train and see him, Mom? Oh, please. You've already seen him, Ginny, and the poor boy isn't something isn't something you can goggle at the zoo. Is he really, Fred? How do you know? Asked him. Saw his scar. It's really there, like lightning. Poor dear. No wonder he was alone. I wondered. He was ever so polite when he asked how to get on the platform. Never mind that. Do you think he remembers what you know who looks like? Their mother suddenly became very stern. I forbid you to ask him about it, Fred. No, don't you dare. As though he needs reminding of that on his first day of school. All right, keep your hair on. A whistle sounded. Hurry up, their mother said, and the 3 boys clambered on the train. They leaned out the window for her to kiss them goodbye, and their youngest sister began to cry. Don't, Jenny. We'll send you loads of owls. We'll send you a Hogwarts toilet seat. George! Only joking, Mom. The train began to move. Harry saw the boy's mother waving and their sister, half laughing, half crying, trying to keep up with the train until it gathered too much speed. Then she fell back and waved. That's so sweet. Harry watched the girl and her mother disappear as the train rounded the corner. This is the Hogwarts Express. It's kind of hard to see all the detail in this, but... Sorry, Fisher. Houses flashed past the window. Harry felt a great leap of excitement. He didn't know what he was going to do, but it had to be... He didn't know what he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving. He didn't know what he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind. Yeah, that's very good logic. The door of the compartment slid open and the youngest red-haired boy came in. Anyone staying there? He asked, pointing at the seat opposite Harry. Everywhere else is full. Harry shook his head and the boy sat down. He glanced at Harry, then looked quickly at the window, pretending he hadn't looked. Harry saw he still had a black mark on his nose. Hey, Ron. The twins were back. Listen, we're going to the middle of the train. V. Jordan's got a giant tarantula down there. Right, rumbled Ron. Harry, said the other twin. Did we introduce ourselves? Fred and George Weasley. And this is Ron, our brother. See you later, then. Bye, said Harry and Ron. The twins stood at the compartment door behind them. Are you really Harry Potter? Ron blurted out. Harry nodded. Oh, well, I thought it might be one of Fred and George's jokes, said Ron. And have you really got, Harry pointed at his forehead. Harry pulled back his fringe to show the lightning scar. Ron stared. So that's where you know who? Yes, said Harry. But I can't remember it. Nothing, said Ron eagerly. Well, I remember a lot of green light, but nothing else. Wow, said Ron. He sat and stared at Harry for a few moments, then, as though he had suddenly realized what he was doing, he looked quickly out the window again. Are all your family wizards? Asked Harry, who found Ron just as interesting as Ron found him. That'd be very true. I'd be like, you're like the first wizard I met my age. Like, let me ask you like all these crazy questions that like I have with the wizarding world. Can I get some Hagrids in the chat for Ron and Harry meeting for the first time? Are all your family wizards? Asked Harry. Yes, I think so, said Ron. I think Mom's got a second cousin who's an accountant, but we never talk about him. So you must know loads of magic already. The Weasleys were clearly one of those old wizarding families that Pale Boy and Diagon Alley had talked about. I heard you went to live with Muggles, said Ron. What are they like? Horrible. Well, not all of them. My aunt and uncle and cousin are, though. Wish I had 3 wizard brothers. 5, said Ron. For some reason, he was looking gloomy. I'm the 6th in our family to go to Hogwarts. You could say I've got a lot to live up to. Bill and Charlie have already left. Bill was head boy and Charlie was captain of Quidditch. Now Percy's a prefect. Fred and George mess around a lot, but they still get really good marks, and everyone thinks they're really funny. Everyone expects me to do as well as the others, but if I do, it's no big deal because they did it first. You never get anything new either with 5 brothers. I got Bill's old robes, Charlie's old wand, and Percy's old rat. Ron reached inside his jacket and pulled out a fat gray rat, which was asleep. His name's Scabbers and he's useless. He hardly ever wakes up. Percy got an owl from my dad for being a prefect. But they couldn't I got Scabbers instead. Ron's ears went pink. He seemed to think he said too much because he went back to staring out the window. So he's saying that he cannot afford it because the Weasleys are broke as fuck. Harry didn't think there was anything wrong with not being able to afford an owl. After all, he never had any money in his life until a month ago, and he told Ron so, all about having not to wear Dudley's old clothes and never getting proper birthday presents. This seemed to cheer Ron up. And until Hagrid told me, I didn't know anything about being a wizard or about my parents or Voldemort. Ron gasped. What? Said Harry. You said you know whose names? Said Ron, sounding both shocked and impressed. I've thought you of all people. I'm not trying to be brave or anything, saying the name, said Harry. I just never knew you shouldn't. See what I mean? I've got loads to learn. I bet, he added, voicing the first time saying that had been worrying him a lot lately. I bet I'm the worst in the class. You wouldn't be. He said, you won't be. There's loads of people who come from Muggle families and they learn quick enough. While they had been talking, the train carried them out of London. Now they were speeding past fields full of crows and sheep. They were quiet for a time, watching the fields and lanes flick past. Around 12:30, there was a great clamoring outside of that corridor, and a smiling, dimpled woman stood back their door and said, "Anything off the trolley, dears?" Harry, who hadn't eaten for breakfast, leapt to his feet, but Ron's ears went pink again. He murmured that he brought sandwiches. Harry went on in the corridor. He never had any money for sweets from the Dursleys. Now that he had pockets rattling with gold and silver, he was ready to buy as many Mars bars as he could buy. The woman didn't have Mars bars. What she did have were Bertie Bott's every flavor beans, Drooble's best blowing gum, chocolate frogs, pumpkin pasties, cauldron cakes, licorice wands, and a number of other strange things Harry had never seen in his life. Not wanting to miss anything, he got some of everything and paid the woman 11 silver nickels and 7 bronze nuts. Ron stared as Harry brought it all back in the compartment and tipped it on into an empty seat. Hungry, are you? Starving, said Harry, taking a large bite out of a pumpkin pasty. Ron had taken out a lumpy package and unwrapped it. There were 4 sandwiches in there. He pulled one of them apart and said, "She always forgets I don't like corned beef." Swap you for one of these, said Harry, holding up a pasty. Go on. You don't want this. It's all dry, said Ron. She She hasn't got much time, he added quickly. You know, with 5 of us. Go on, have a pasty, Harry, who never had anything to share before, or indeed anyone to share it with. It was a nice feeling sitting here with Ron, eating their way through all Harry's pasties and cakes. The sandwiches lay forgotten. What are these? Harry asked Ron, holding up a pack of chocolate frogs. They're not really frogs, are they? Harry's starting to feel like nothing would surprise him. No, said Ron. But see what the card is. I'm missing Agrippa. Who? He says, what? Oh, of course, you won't know. Chocolate frogs have cards inside them, to collect. Famous witches and wizards. I got about 500, but I haven't got Agrippa or Ptolemy. Harry unwrapped his chocolate frog and picked up the card. It showed a man's face. He wore half moon glasses, half a long crooked nose, and a flowing silver hair, beard, and mustache. Underneath the picture said Albus Dumbledore. So this is Dumbledore, said Harry. Don't tell me you've never heard of Dumbledore, said Ron. Can I have a frog? I meant Agrippa. Thanks. Harry turned over his card and read, Albus Dumbledore, current headmaster of Hogwarts. Considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times, Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his brother Nicholas Flamel. Professor Dumbledore enjoys chamber music and tin-pin bowling. Let me repeat that again. Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the great wizard Grindelwald. And see the crimes of this man. April 18th. Harry turned the card back over and saw, to his astonishment, that Dumbledore's face had disappeared. He's gone. Well, you can't expect him to hang around all day, said Ron. He'll be back. No, I've got Morgana again, and I've got about 6 of her. Do you want it? You can start collecting. Ron's eyes strayed to the pile of chocolate frogs waiting to be unwrapped. Help yourself, said Harry. But in, the Muggle world, people just stay put in photos. Do they? What, they don't move at all? Ron sounded amazed. Weird. Yes, this deserves some Hagrids. Let's get some Hagrids in the chat. Some Hagrids in the chat. Do they? What, they don't move at all? Weird. Harry stared as Dumbledore slid back into the picture on his card and gave him a small smile. Ron was most interested in eating the frogs than looking at the famous wizards and witches cards, but Harry couldn't keep his eyes off them. Soon he had not only Dumbledore and Morgana, but Hengist of Woodcraft, Uberrock, Grunion, Circe Paracelius, and Merlin. He finally tore his eyes away from the druidess Cleoda, who was snatching her nose, to begin a bag of Bertie Bott's every flavored beans. You want to be careful with those, Ron warned Harry. When they say every flavor, they mean every flavor. You get like the ordinary ones like chocolate and peppermint and marmalade, but then you get spinach, and liver, and tripe. George reckons he had a boogie flavored one once. Ron picked up a green bean, looked at it carefully, and picked it into a corner. Blah, see? Sprouts. Gross. Hargrid. They had a good time eating the every flavored beans. Harry got toast, coconut, baked bean, strawberry, curry, grass, coffee, sardine. I was even brave enough to nibble the end of a funny gray one Ron wouldn't touch, which turned out to be pepper. The countryside, now flying past the window, was becoming wilder. The neat fields had gone. Now there were woods, twisting rivers, and dark green hills. There was a knock at the door of the compartment, and the round-faced boy Harry had passed on platform 9 3 Harris came in. He looked tearful. Sorry, he said. Have you seen a toad at all? When they shook their heads, he wailed. I've lost him. He keeps getting away from me. He'll turn up, said Harry. Yes, said the boy miserably. Well, if you see him. He left. Don't know why I so bothered, said Harry. If I brought a toad, I'd lose it as quick as I could. Mind you, I brought Scabbers, so I can't talk. The wizard was still snoozing on Ron's lap. The rat. Uh, he might have died and he won't know the difference, said Ron, disgust. He tried to learn how yellow yesterday to make him. I tried to turn him yellow yesterday to make him more interesting, but the spell didn't work. I'll show you. Look. He rummaged around his trunk and pulled out a very battered-looking wand. It was chipped in places, and something white was gleaming in the end. Unicorn's hair nearly poking out. Anyway, he just raised his wand when the apartment door slid open again. The tallest boy was black, but this time he had a girl with him. She was already wearing her new Hogwarts robes. Has anyone seen a toad? No's lost one, she said. She had a bossy sort of voice, lots of bushy brown hair, and rather large front teeth. We've already told. I love Hermione. We've already told him we haven't seen it, said Ron, but the girl wasn't listening. She was looking at the wand in his hand. Oh, you're doing magic? Let me see it then. She sat down. Ron looked taken aback. All right. He cleared his throat. Sunshine Daisy's buttermellow. Turn this stupid fat rat yellow. He waved his wand, but nothing happened. Scabbers stayed gray and fast asleep. Are you sure that's a real spell? Said the girl. Well, it's not very good, is it? I've tried a few simple spells just for practice, and it's all worked for me. Nobody in my family's magic at all. It was ever such a surprise when I got my letter, but I was ever so pleased, of course. I mean, it's the very best school of witchcraft there is, I've heard. I've learned all our set books all of our books off by heart, of course. I just hope it will be enough. I'm Hermione Granger, by the way. Who are you? She said all that very fast. Harry looked at Ron and was relieved to see by his stunned face that he hadn't learned all the set books off his heart either. I'm Ron Weasley, Ron muttered. Harry Potter, said Harry. Are you really? Said Hermione. I know all about you, of course. I got a few extra books for background reading, and you're in modern magical history and the rise and fall of the dark arts and great wizarding events of the 20th century. Damn! So he's like in all these crazy books. I'd be like, what? He says, "Am I?" said Harry, feeling dazed. Yeah, I'd be dazed too. Goodness, didn't you know? I'd have found out everything I could if it was me, said Hermione. Do either of you know what house you'll be in? I've been asking around, and I hope I'm in Gryffindor. It sounds by far the best. I hear Dumbledore himself was one, but I suppose Ravenclaw wouldn't be too bad. Anyway, we better go and look for Neville's toad. You two had better change, you know. I expect we'll be there soon. And she left, taking the tallest boy with her. Whatever house I'm in, I hope she's not in it, said Ron. He threw his wand back in his trunk. Stupid spell. George gave it to me, but he knew it was a dud. What house are your brothers in? Asked Harry. In Gryffindor, said Ron. Gloom seemed to be saying on him again. Mom and Dad were in it too. I don't know what they'll say if I'm not. I don't suppose Ravenclaw would be too bad, but imagine if they put me in Slytherin. That's the house of... you know who was in. Yeah, said Ron. He flopped back into his seat, looking depressed. You know, I think the ends of Scabbers' whiskers are a bit lighter, said Harry, trying to take Ron's mind off houses. So what do your oldest brothers do when they've left anyway? Harry was wondering what a wizard did once he finished school. Charlie's in Romania studying dragons and Charlie's in Romania studying dragons, and Bill's in Africa doing something for Gringotts, said Ron. Do you hear about Gringotts? It's been all over the Daily Prophet, but I don't suppose you get that with the Muggles. Someone tried to rob a high-security vault. Harry stared. Really? What happened to them? Nothing, that's why it's such big news. They haven't been caught. But Dad says it must have been a powerful dark wizard to get Ron Gringotts. But they didn't think that it took anything, that's what's odd. Of course, everyone gets scared when something like this happens, and in case you know who like this happens in case you know who wants it. So a dark wizard broke into the bank, but didn't take anything. Or is it because there was nothing there for him to take? Harry stared. Really? What happened to that? What happened? Oh, my bad. Harry turned this news over in his mind. He was starting to get a prickle of fear every time you know who was mentioned. He supposed this was all because of entering the magical world. It had been a lot more comfortable saying Voldemort without worrying. What's your Quidditch team? Ron asked. I don't know any, Harry confessed. What? Ron looked dumbfounded. Oh, you wait. It's the best game in the world. And he was off, explaining all about the 4 balls and the positions of the 7 players, describing famous games he'd been to with his brothers on the broomstick. He looked and the broomstick he'd like to get if he had the money. He was just taking Harry through the finer points of the game when the compartment door slid open yet again, but it wasn't Neville the tallest boy or Hermione Granger this time. Uh-oh, trouble. 3 boys entered and Harry recognized the male one at once. It was the pale boy from Mal Malkin's robe shop. He was looking at Harry with a lot more interest than he had shown back in Diagon Alley. Is it true, he said? They're saying all down the train that Harry Potter's in his compartment. So it's you, isn't it? Yes, said Harry. He was looking at the other boys. Both of them were thickest and looked extremely mean. Standing either side of the pale boy, they looked like bodyguards. This is Crab and this is Goyle, said the boy carelessly, noticing where Harry was looking. And my name is Malfoy, Draco Malfoy. Draco Malfoy. Ron gave a slight cough, which might have been hiding a snigger. Draco Malfoy looked at him. Think my name's funny, do you? None of you ask who you are. My father told me all the Weasleys have red hair, freckles, and more children than they can afford. He turned back to Harry. You'll soon find out some wizarding families are much better than others, Potter. You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort. I can help you get there. He held out his hand to shake Harry's, but Harry didn't take it. I think I can tell who the wrong sort are for myself, thanks, he said coolly. Draco Malfoy didn't go red, but a pink tinge appeared in his pale cheeks. I'd be careful if I were you, Potter, he said slowly. Unless you're a bit politer, you'll go the same way as your parents. They didn't know what was good for them either. You hang around with riffraff like the Weasleys and that Hagrid, and it'll rub off on you soon. Both Harry and Ron stood up. Ron's face was as red as his hair. Say that again, he said. Oh, you're going to fight us, are you? Malfoy sneered. Unless you get out now, said Harry, more bravely than he felt, because Crabbe and Goyle were a lot bigger than him or Ron. But we don't feel like leaving, do we, boys? We've eaten all our food and you still seem to have some. Goyle reached towards the chocolate frogs next to Ron. Harry leaped forward. Before he'd so much as touched Goyle let out a horrible yell. Scabbers rat was hanging off his finger. His sharp little teeth sunk deep into Goyle's knuckle. Crabbe and Malfoy backed away as Goyle swung Scabbers around howling, and when Scabbers finally flew off and hit the window, all 3 of them disappeared at once. Perhaps they thought they were more rats looking around among the streets, or because they heard footsteps, because a second later, Hermione Granger had come in. What has been going on? She said. Looking at the sweets all over the floor, and Ron picked up Scabbers by his tail. I think he's been knocked out, Ron said, Harry. He looked closer at Scabbers. No, I don't believe it. He's gone back to sleep. And so we had. You've met Malfoy before? Harry explained about their meeting in Diagon Alley. I've heard of his family, said Ron darkly. They were some of the first to come back to our side after you-know-who disappeared. Said they've been bewitched. My dad doesn't believe it. He says Malfoy's father didn't need an excuse to go over to the dark side. He turned to Hermione. Can we help you with something? You better hurry up and put your robes on. I've just been out to the front desk to ask the driver, and he said I'm nearly there. You haven't been fighting, have you? You'll be in trouble before we even get there. Scabbers have been fighting, not us, said Ron, growling at her. Would you mind leaving while we change? All right, I didn't come here because people outside are behaving very childishly, racing up and down the corridor, said Hermione in a sniffy voice. And you've got dirt on your nose, by the way. Did you know? Ron glared at her as she left. Harry peered out the window. It was getting dark. You could see mountains of forest under a deep purple sky. The train did seem to be slowing down. He and Ron took off their jackets and pulled on their long black robes. Ron's were a bit short for him. You could see his trainers underneath them. A voice echoed throughout the train. We'll be reaching Hogwarts in 5 minutes' time. Please leave your luggage on the train. It will be taken to school separately. Harry's stomach lurched with nerves, and Ron saw, looking pale. Harry's stomach lurched with nerves, and Ron, he saw, looked pale under his freckles. They crammed their pockets with the last of the streets and joined the crowd thronging the corridor. The train slowed right down and finally stopped. People pushed their way towards the door and out into a tiny dark platform. Harry shivered in the cold night air. Then a lamp came bobbing over the heads of the students, and Harry heard a familiar voice. First years over here. All right there, Harry? This is where they got off at. Mysterious looking castle. Hagrid's big hairy face beamed over the sea of heads. Come on, follow me. And more first years? Mind your step now. First years, follow me. Slipping and stumbling, they followed Hagrid down what seemed to be a steep, narrow path. It was so dark on either side of them that Harry thought there must be thick trees there. Nobody spoke much. Neville, the boy who kept losing his toad, sniffed once or twice. You get your first sight of Hogwarts in a sec, Hagrid called over his shoulder. Just round this bend, dear. There was a loud, ooh. The narrow path had opened suddenly on the edge of a great black lake. Perched atop a high mountain on either side, its windows sparkled in the starry sky, was a vast castle with myriad turrets and towers. Need more than 4 to a boat, Harry called, pointing to a fleet of little boats sailing in the water by the shore. Harry and Ron were following their boat by Neville and Hermione. Everyone in, shouted Hagrid, who had a boat to himself. Right then. Forward! And a fleet of little boats moved off all at once, gliding across the lake, which was as smooth as glass. Everyone was silent, staring up at the great castle overhead. It towered over them as they sailed nearer and nearer to the cliff on which it stood. Dude. How eerie. Like, it's the picture of it in my head right now. Heads down, yelled Hagrid as the first boats reached the cliff. They all bent their heads, and the little boats carried them through a current of ivy which hid a wide opening in the cliff face. They were carried along a dark tunnel that seemed to be taking them right underneath the castle until they reached a kind of underground harbor, which they clambered out onto the rocks and pebbles. Oh, you there! Is this your toad? Said Hagrid, who was checking their boats and as the people climbed out of them. Trevor! Cried Neville blissfully, holding out his hands. Then they clambered off a passageway in the rock after Hagrid's lamp, coming out at last onto a smooth, damp grass right into the shadow of the castle. They walked up a flight of stone steps and crowded under the huge oak front door. Everyone there? You there? Still got your toad? Hagrid raised a gigantic fist and knocked 3 times on the castle door. Thus ends Chapter 6. Next up, this sorting hat. Can I get some Hagrids in the chat for the finished chapter? Get me some Hagrids. Get me some Hagrids. Get me some Hagrids. Thank you. I am the best. The best in the business. I'm the best in the business. I'm just going up an hour and a half. That was a great chapter. Introduced a lot of the characters that are going to be prevalent at all the books. Met Ron, met Hermione. I loved Hermione's characterization. I loved her moments. I loved her lines. I am also excited for this sorting hat. So excited, so hyped. Had so much fun reading this Harry Potter. So glad that we're reading it. Fucking love Harry Potter. It's very easy to read. Everything about it is wholesome and it's fantastic. I don't know if there's anything else to really say. What happened in this chapter? Met the Malfoys as enemies. The Malfoys, well, yeah, I mean their family are like assholes, but Malfoy, Crabbe, and Crabe, or whatever the fuck his name is, and Goyle. Hate them. They changed into a black man for some reason. I remember distinctly being like, what? Crabbe. Crabe. We'll find out on April 18th. We'll find Grindelwald what his crimes were. I don't really know anything about Grindelwald, to be honest. Like, I don't know. He's like turned to the dark side or whatever. Like, who knows? We'll find out. I'm so high. I'm so high. Let's go. That's pretty cool. They mentioned Grindelwald in this one. I forgot they did. That's epic. That's epic. That's epic. Watch it be like only in this edition. Like she corrected it. Like special, like George Lucas special editions. I'd be like, I'd be like all here for it. I'd be like, okay, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't really care that much. But I want if it'd be like Dumbledore passionately kissed Grindelwald. If like they put a line like that in the Deathly Hollows, I'd be like, what have you done? I'd be like, I'll be in full like rage mode. I'll be in full like Justice League mode, or like where like sequel trilogy hate mode. Like you destroyed it. Like you tarnished it forever. But anyway, guys, I think I've been going long enough. So be here next time for the Storing Hat. And be here April 18th for the Crimes of Grindelwald. We'll have a live review of the movie after in the theater. We'll do a live review with all the boys. We'll stream it in the car or some shit. We'll have Ethan's a book club movie review or some shit. But anyways, I'm gonna let y'all go. Goodbye, and thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of this, because I sure did.